So hello there, my name is Jules Burt, and I'm doing this little video because recently I was on Pocket Money Memories on ToyPolloi's channel, and I only had a couple of minutes there to really sort of give you my my pocket money memories, and I just thought that the two toys that I showed on that one, I didn't really do it justice in a minute and a half, so I thought I'd go sort of long form here and introduce myself a little bit more to any new viewers who might be joining me and seeing my channel for the first time. So I have only been on YouTube itself as a channel for about 3 months now, from when this video is going out. However, I have a huge history of toys and collectibles and books. I've been collecting it all my life, in fact, and for about a decade I actually made a living buying and selling toys and comics and books. So I've also been a huge fan of it as well, and I'm using YouTube as a way to sort of share my collection. A lot of it is in long-term storage, it's not out all on display. I've got most of my books out these days, but as you can see, but I haven't got much of the toys out, and that stuff is kept in storage. So one of my most popular things I've been doing is unboxing my vintage Star Wars collection, and that's proven very, very popular with people, and I'm seeing stuff that I personally haven't set eyes on in 10 years, which has been great fun. Now, the very first video I stuck up was on these Tomy Pocketeers. Now, this is something I've always been into, and in fact I've got the full set of Pocketeers now, but as I mentioned on my video for ToyPolloi, when I was growing up, Pocketeers in sort of, well, they started in 75, but I don't really think I started getting them until 76, 77, when I believe they were really at their peak, just before Star Wars action figures took hold. Now, prior to this, I did have some glass-topped tabletop games by the company called Journey, and these have been released since the turn of the century. But these plastic ones were in America released by Tomy, and these have still got the Tomy indentation on the back, because Palitoy basically did their own British version of it, but used the same tooling. So the actual toys are the same; they're just British Tomy variations. Released by Palitoy. This is the most famous one, Steeplechase, and it's fantastic. Now, I have done another video on my channel, apart from the unboxing, which should be up by now, which is the top 5 rarest and the top 5 best Pocketeers. This one, as you might expect, comes into both camps. It's not the rarest by any means, but it certainly goes for good money, about £50 or so for a really nice one, simply because it's so fondly remembered. And in my opinion, this is the all-time greatest Pocketeer, and the one that I certainly enjoyed the most when I was a kid. So I urge you, if you want to give these a go, jump onto eBay, check all your boot sales. I found loads of these at boot sales over the years. Look for these Tomy Pocketeers, look for Steeplechase in particular, because this is the one I think you're going to absolutely love, and you might actually get the bug to get some of the other ones then. They're not all great by any means, but this particular one, head and shoulders over everything else. Now, the other thing I mentioned on ToyPolloi's little video was vintage Star Wars. Now, Star Wars, I am of the Star Wars generation. I was 8 when the first movie came out. I was the perfect audience when the first toys came out. That was Christmas for me. I remember having the Palitoy Death Star, the Cantina. There was only less than 20 figures by that first year, Hammerhead being part of the second wave, and this was my favourite figure, you know, as seen briefly in the famous Cantina scene. And I always used to remember when, as a family, we would go out, you know, much like, you know, kids today, they take maybe their phones or a Game Boy or something like that. Back in our day, when I was kids, you could take a toy or a book possibly, or the latest comic, like a copy of Star Wars Weekly or Doctor Who Weekly. I would take a figure, and generally I would take Hammerhead. I wouldn't bother with his gun because I was always worried about losing the rifles, but I would take the figure, and we'd have some brilliant adventures together. Why this particular figure, I don't know. This one and Luke in his X-Wing outfit, I guess, are my best two. Droids, I preferred R5-D4. Once again, all these original 21 figures, and Star Wars is something that's very, very big with me, and it stayed with me all my life. Alas, most of the collection is now boxed up. I've got my loose set out, that's pretty much it. And I've got access to the books, but that's the lot. So I've been pulling these boxes out of long-term storage and literally unboxing them for all the world to see. And those videos have been going down really well. I'm seeing stuff I haven't seen in ages, and certainly it's been bringing back the nostalgia and also the memories as well. And it's made me want to fill in and get a few other bits that perhaps I never got round to getting last time I was really into collecting Star Wars. So apart from that, so that's the toy side of things. The other things you're going to find on my channel is my love of vintage paperbacks. So I'm a huge fan of vintage Penguin books, and in fact I've actually got some just here. I just grabbed some off camera. So that's these sorts of vintage Penguin books. Now these came out in 1935. I collect them from right back then, 1935 up to about 1970. I also collect like film tie-ins, James Bond books, Pan paperbacks, all sorts of different series, and you'll find them as well on the channel. Some of them are like a one-off video. The James Bond ones might be 2 or 3 videos. Penguin books is a whole playlist of those, and Pan books is going that way as well. But there's all sorts to see. Another huge part of my collection is Simpsons and Futurama toys, and I've literally only just tip of the iceberg started to do my first unboxing video with them. What else have we got? Xbox. So most of my retro gaming collection I have got rid of over the years because I just did not have the space for it. However, the original Xbox myself and my son absolutely love, and I'm trying to put together a run of all the European PAL Xbox releases, of which there's just under 900. I reckon I'm about just over halfway, so it's a work in progress, and I will be doing a video on that one quite soon, just showing where we're up to at the moment on that. So thank you for visiting. I hope you've enjoyed what you've seen. Do check out the channel because there is hopefully something for everybody there. Certainly plenty more toys to come, and I don't just collect Star Wars and Simpsons. There's other stuff as well, as Pocketeers. I like Mego figures. I've got my eye on some classic Lego and Action Man. There's all sorts of stuff that will be coming up in the future, so plenty for you to enjoy. So thanks again for watching. If you like this video, do give it a thumbs up, and do subscribe to see regular content like this. As quickly as I can make it, I'm getting it up. And thanks. I'll see you soon. Bye.